Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news from Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report's live election coverage. I'm Kate Keeley.
And I'm Emily Scaff.
We'll start with the statewide races at the top of the ticket. CNN has called the governor's race, saying that Democrat Abigail Spanberger will become Virginia's first female governor.
CNN has also called the lieutenant governor's race for Democrat Ghazala Hashmi. Hashmi currently has 54% of the votes in Virginia, with John Reed II, the Republican, trailing behind with 45%.
Now moving on to the Virginia Attorney General race, Jay Jones is still in the lead at 52%. He's the Democratic candidate. And Jason Miyares, the incumbent Republican, is trailing at 48% with almost all of the precincts reporting. And we're still waiting to see the final results for the House of Delegates, but we can already tell that the Democrats are going to retain control. Currently, it's 52 Democrats to 30 Republican seats, with still some to go. And now we're going to go live to the Rockbridge Report newsroom, where our own Mary Jordan Janeski is back with our top numbers tabulator, Alex Kagan, who will tell us what these numbers might mean or suggest about the final tally for the House of Delegates.
Thank you, Kate. Alex, what is the range that the final margin could be?
It's looking about 59 Dems, plus or minus 3 or 4, probably. I'd say right now it'd be 58, but there's a couple races. There are 10 races in contention. So Dems, we've safely called for 52. The 10 races that are in contention, 30 for Republicans, 10 races are all Republican incumbents. 6 of those trail at the moment. A couple of those look pretty bleak for those incumbents. So it's not looking good. Dems will retain control. It's just whether they can get up to even 63 votes.
And what other Virginia races are still outstanding?
Well, statewide, different places have called all 3 statewide elections. So it appears that Dems will take the trifecta with governor, lieutenant governor, and AG. But the main things to look at for the rest of the night will be a few of these delegate races that could really control what sort of mandate the Spanberger administration has in the legislature.
Keep watching for more election results here on the Rockbridge Report. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Mary Jordan.
We're getting returns for the 2 House of Delegate seats that include parts of the Rockbridge area. We're going to look at the 37th district. Now, in the 37th district for the House of Delegates, all precincts reporting, the incumbent Terry Austin, Republican, currently has 71% of the votes and is the projected winner. Trailing behind is Andrew Hartless, a Democrat, with 28% of the votes, and that has been called for Terry Austin. Looking at the 36th district for the House of Delegates, with all precincts reporting, incumbent Republican Ellen Campbell has 58% of the votes and is the winner for this race. Trailing behind, Michaela Venable, the Democrat, has 42% of the votes.
And now moving on to the Lexington and Rockbridge County Sheriff race, Tony McFadden Jr. is in the lead with 60% of the votes, Chris Norris with 31%, and Fred Smith Sr. At 7% of the votes, with all precincts reporting.
Official numbers haven't come through in the database, but the Buena Vista registrar says preliminary numbers suggest that Jesse Lineberry will pull ahead of Tyson Cooper. The registrar also says that early numbers suggest that Randy Hamilton is projected to win the Buena Vista Sheriff's race.
We are also still waiting on official numbers for City Council, but the registrar says that Stephanie Branch, Daniel Staton, Amy Gilliam, and Stanley Coffey are pulling ahead in preliminary numbers.
Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, we'll take you live from Democratic headquarters in Lexington after a number of key races have been called for the party.
And we'll give you an update on Rockbridge County races.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report's election night coverage. We're going to look at some more local race returns starting in Rockbridge County. First, we're going to look at the Walkers Creek Board of Supervisors race, all precincts reporting. Currently, Albert J. Lewis II, the incumbent, has 33% of the votes. Stephen Reese also has 33% of the votes, and Jatoria Brown also with 32% of the votes.
And taking a look at the Carrs Creek District Board of Supervisors race, Stephen Hart is the projected winner with 69% of the votes. And Boyd Brown II is trailing behind with 31% of the votes in all precincts reporting. For Glasgow Town Council, Tom Camden, the incumbent, has 33% of the votes. Lisa Rogers, also an incumbent, has 31% of the votes. And Kent Dunn, also an incumbent, has 30% of the votes with 1 out of 1 precinct reporting. And now we will check in with Katie Eubanks at the Democratic Watch Party at Sweet Treats. Katie, what can you tell us about the atmosphere after these key victories?
Thank you, Kate. We are here downtown at the live Democratic Watch Party. I am here today with Brenda McCannon, a Democrat from Rockbridge, and I have a couple questions for her, starting with, we've had lots of Democratic victories tonight. How are you feeling about this?
I'm feeling really happy about it. I am happy to see that Virginia is realizing that the Democrats are working more for more people than the Republicans are working for a pretty small group. So I'm very happy, and I hope this spreads to the rest of the country.
Now, were these the results you were expecting to see tonight, or would you say this was more of a shock for you?
It was not a shock, so it was not really a surprise, but I am very happy to see it. I did not necessarily expect that it would go this way, but happy to see it.
And then looking at the country as a whole, how do you think tonight's results are going to affect the rest of the country outside of our state?
I think that Virginians are, really showing the country that democracy is important, that the Democrats are more apt to bring that back to us and to protect our democracy, and I think that will spread across the country. I think many other states will look at this, and hopefully they will follow our lead.
Now, we are still waiting on the results from our Attorney General race. Do you think Jay Jones will be able to secure that win?
I think that it looks very promising right now, so I believe that, yes, he will. I don't think he will have as large a lead as Abigail Spanberger has, but I think he's going to pull this off.
And then after tonight, do you have any more hopes for the Democratic Party now that we have seen these victories?
I do. I hope that this moves throughout the country, and I certainly hope as we move into the midterms that we see the same result of Democrats winning more races. And I hope that when we get to the next presidential election that the Democrats take that too. A clean sweep for the Democrats. That's what I'm anticipating.
Thank you so much. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Katie. Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, we will talk with our political experts about what local numbers mean for statewide races.
All this and more on the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report.
Now, we are live with our Republican political expert James Eustace and Democratic political expert Brady Madden. We're going to break down what we know about the House of Delegates right now. Currently reporting, we have 52 seats that are Democratic and 30 seats are Republican, with more left to report. Now, Brady, what do these numbers suggest about the next 2 years of Virginia politics?
You know, with Abigail Spanberger winning the governor's race, the Virginia Democrats have already had control of the state Senate, and now with the House of Delegates, their majority expanding, probably going to grow more than 52. I think we're going to see Abigail Spanberger with a lot of political power and a lot of political aspirations to get things done in Virginia and implement her policies, whether that's on expanding medical marijuana and recreational marijuana, whether that's safeguarding our elections and making sure that Virginia is more affordable. I think she's going to use all of her power, all of her votes, and having control of all three places to her advantage.
Yeah, thanks for that insight. And James, what do these numbers tell you about Virginia's government for the next 2 years?
Well, there's a lot of Republicans out there that are concerned that this represents a Californication, if you will, of Virginia politics, where we're going to see more Democratic policies implemented, become more like Maryland, Illinois, those sort of states, and it's not the result that Republicans wanted to see tonight. Abigail Spanberger's victory, combined with what looks like is going to be a convincing margin in the House of Delegates, is going to give her the ability to pass policies that she campaigned on, implementing gun control and abortion legislation and whatever else the Democrats choose to prioritize.
Right. Well, we also have numbers for the 37th district broken by locality. So for Lexington City, Andrew Hartless, the Democrat, is in the lead with 65% of votes in all precincts reporting. And Terry Austin, the incumbent Republican, is trailing behind at 34% of the votes. So for Rockbridge County, the 37th district, Terry Austin is also in the lead. Terry Austin is in the lead with 68% of the votes, and Andrew Hartless is behind at 31% of the votes with 10 out of 10 precincts reporting. So, Brady, what did these numbers tell you about tonight's local turnout?
You know, I think it's a very impressive showing from Andrew Hartless. He's a very young candidate, in fact, the youngest candidate running for House of Delegates in all of Virginia. And although he's probably not going to win tonight, I think his showing district-wide is very impressive, is going to set the needed groundwork down for future elections to come and kind of bring a bottom-up approach instead of the traditional political top-down approach to the future of Virginia.
Right, yeah, thank you for that. And what is your take, James, on the turnout from Rockbridge County and Lexington for the 37th district race?
Yeah, unlike what we're seeing in the rest of the state, this is a great turnout result for Delegate Terry Austin. It looks like it's going to be a convincing victory for him. And the next 2 years of his term are going to look a lot different than the last two. He's going to have to contend with a Democratic governor and generally a lot of Democratic power within Virginia state politics. That said, it looks like he will have the chance to move forward and continue to advocate for his values and principles within the state government.
Yeah, well, thank you. We appreciate you both coming to share your perspective. And that is all for the Rockbridge Report's Election Night newscasts.
Check out the Rockbridge Report's website at rockbridgereport.wlu.edu for continued coverage.